It's March 21st, JLD here, and welcome to MSTR Today. In this show, we talk about how strategy is similar to Standard Oil in so many ways. We talk about Strategy Hub and what that could mean for the future. Jeff Walton, Punter Jeff, puts out an absolute masterpiece. We talk about how TradFi just does not get it. And I have two epic Michael Saylor video clips you're going to want to watch. This video is not financial advice, but please do comment below. Let me know where you're watching from, what you're thinking. Just comment for support. It means so much. And let's dive on in. Kicking things off today with a post from Chris on how strategy is the standard oil of Bitcoin. The same way Rockefeller aggregated and standardized crude oil as an energy resource is the same way strategy is aggregating and standardizing Bitcoin as a financial resource. Standard Oil success was fueled and reinforced by its oil holdings. Strategy success is fueled and reinforced by its Bitcoin holdings. Today, it is impossible to imagine life without oil. Tomorrow, it will be impossible to imagine life without Bitcoin. And this is really the graph that made the light bulb go on for me back in the Q3 earnings report when Michael Saylor was going through this about how what do refineries do? They take crude oil and they refine it. Standard Oil refines it into oil products, jet fuel, gasoline, heating oil, petroleum, diesel. Now, what does strategy do? Well, strategy takes Bitcoin, it refines it, and it makes Bitcoin products, options, leverage ETFs, equity, convert bonds, dividends. And again, we've seen two dividends released recently. That's Strike and Strife. We've obviously been seeing convertible bonds for quite some time now. Obviously, MSTR is the equity, leverage ETFs, MSTU and MSTX, and the options that are out there. So the Bitcoin products are out there, and strategy is responsible for refining the Bitcoin to create these products. So I love this analogy. If you guys haven't heard about the Strategy Hub, now's the time to. It would be awesome, says BitStrategy, to raise $10 million, move to the US, and found a Bitcoin startup at the Strategy Hub, the new American dream. This could one day become the Y Combinator of Bitcoin. Who will be Saylor's first unicorn? The race is on. And then this is Strategy Hub, a free co-working space for advancing Bitcoin innovation and adoption, hosted by the world's first Bitcoin treasury company. If you click on this, it'll take you to more details about it. I'll have this in the show notes below. Now, Jeff wants us to know that Strategy's debt is an asset. You're going to hear so much FUD out there on the internet. Look at Strategy's debt. It's terrible. They're going to go under. They're going to get liquidated. These individuals are so incompetent and they're so clueless. They don't understand what Michael Saylor is doing. They don't understand strategy, where the debt is an asset. Volatility is vitality. End of story. Now, I did tell you that Jeff is on vacation right now. I didn't tell you that part, but he is on vacation right now. And on that vacation, he apparently had quite the just moments of clarity. And he put together this incredible masterpiece. I'm not going to read it all because it's unbelievably long, but I will post it in the show notes below if you want to. And I highly recommend it. I actually highly recommend reading it twice. Would you rather risk your time or assets in exchange for more time in the future? Well, this is the thread on Bitcoin yield efficiency, debt risk and time theory, balance sheet collateralization, and hurdle rates at its application to MSTR for the bulls and the bears. TradFi and Bitcoiners are both bewildered about MSTR for different reasons. TradFi not understanding Bitcoin and Bitcoin not understanding collateralized debt and credit systems. This trade will be so obvious when looking back 10 to 20 years from now. And then he just goes through, as you can see, this entire just absolute masterpiece. And then I'm going to get down to the end here, and he leaves us with this. Bitcoin has become the hurdle rate. It is very hard to beat Bitcoin. Leveraging assets as collateral with strong risk framework is the most efficient use of time to meet and exceed the hurdle rates. In the meantime, most everyone else is risking their most precious resource, which is time, in exchange for more Bitcoin. More Bitcoin. Thank you for this, Jeff. Absolutely powerful. And I wanted to share another post from Strategy Archive. This is 2 days in a row. Again, give this person a follow. They are really working hard to put out some great content here all around strategy. Traditional finance is running circles trying to value strategy, formerly MicroStrategy. Why? Because it's not just a Bitcoin ETF, a software company, or a leverage play. It's something entirely new, and Wall Street doesn't have a model for it. Classic valuation models rely on PE ratios, cash flow, and NAV. Strategy breaks all of them. It actively acquires Bitcoin, raises capital at a premium, and increases Bitcoin per share, something ETFs and traditional companies simply don't do. Many analysts mistakenly compare strategy to BlackRock's IBIT. Big mistake. ETFs passively hold Bitcoin with a stripped NAV peg. Strategy accumulates more Bitcoin over time, making its valuation a function of future Bitcoin appreciation, not just today's holdings. Strategy's valuation premium, which is currently at 1.8, isn't a bug. It's a feature. It's priced like a tech company, not a commodity fund. No one values Apple or Tesla on their cash reserves alone. Why should Strategy be valued only on its Bitcoin holdings? Then there's just financial engineering. Strategy uses convertible debt, USD 9.26 billion, at just 0.373% interest to buy Bitcoin. It also issues shares above NAV, creating accretive dilution, turning what looks like shareholder dilution into an increased Bitcoin per share. Passive flows are another wild card. Strategies ranking in major indices, the NASDAQ 100 and S&P 500, which is in sight, means index funds will be forced to buy, further driving demand. The result, more capital, more Bitcoin, and a valuation Wall Street still can't process. The biggest blind spot, traditional analysts don't yet understand Bitcoin. They treat it like a volatile asset instead of an emerging global monetary network. Strategy isn't just stacking Bitcoin, it's positioning itself as the ultimate corporate Bitcoin entity. The bottom line, Strategy is a pioneering new asset class. Corporate Bitcoin leverage. As Bitcoin adoption grows, so will its value. The question isn't whether it's overvalued, it's whether the market is still underestimating it. Whew. Thank you for that strategy archive. Much appreciated. Now we have 2 epic videos coming up that you're not going to want to miss as soon as we get back from thanking our sponsor. So check it out. I know we're all looking to stack more Bitcoin and MSTR, and to do that, we need more fiat. So let's chat about our sponsor, ShipStation. We all know the market can seem pretty chaotic at times, but if you're in charge of order fulfillment for your business, you already understand chaos. While we might not be able to help calm the chaos in the market, ShipStation is here to help when it comes to shipping and fulfillment. I've used ShipStation to easily automate shipping to customers around the globe. My favorite part about the platform, managing orders in one simple dashboard makes an otherwise massive task feel pretty darn simple. Plus, ShipStation not only integrates with the services and selling channels you already use, it's also the fastest, most affordable way to ship products to your customers. ShipStation hooks you up with discounts up to 88% off UPS, DHL Express, and USPS rates, and up to 90% off FedEx rates. Calm the chaos of order fulfillment with the shipping software that delivers. Switch to ShipStation today. Go to shipstation.com/MSTR to sign up for your free trial, or click the pinned comment below this video. That's shipstation.com/MSTR. And thank you for supporting our sponsors that allow myself and my team to continue to produce these daily videos for you for free. Now back to the show.
The US has already acquired about 200,000 BTC. That's worth about $17 billion. Strategy CEO Michael Saylor is suggesting that the US acquire up to 25% of the Bitcoin supply by 2035. What would be the target amount for the United States in your view?
Well, I get asked this question a lot, and I think the answer to that, like I said at the summit yesterday, is as much as we can possibly get, so long as it's in budget neutral ways that don't cost the taxpayer a dime. I think we have a lot of high IQ people in the building that are working on this, and folks over at the Treasury office and folks over at Commerce, working with the internal working group that was set up in the first digital assets EO. We'll be able to come up with ways to accumulate more really over the course of the next few years and beyond that. I mean, look, we view Bitcoin as being digital gold. That's why we set up the strategic Bitcoin reserve in the way that we did, right? Bitcoin is a commodity. It's not a security. As our AI and cryptos are, David Sachs likes to say, it has the immaculate conception, meaning that there's no issuer. It has intrinsic stored value that's traditionally accepted. And we feel like it's in the best interest of Americans to hold on to this asset long term and accumulate as much as we can get. That's why we've akin this to digital gold and talked about building the digital Fort Knox for the United States. And, you mentioned the Bitcoin that we have possession of. We've actually been in possession of nearly 400,000 Bitcoin. We sold roughly half of that prematurely at about I think it was close to $370 million is what we sold it for. If we would have held on to that, it would have been worth $17 billion today. I mean, it just goes to show you how important this asset is and what we can do with it to benefit the American people. One thing that I've said repeatedly throughout the media circuit is that I think it's really nice that we have a president that's actually looking to accumulate assets for Americans rather than take it away, unlike the last regime that we had here at the White House. But we feel very confident about our plan. We feel confident about the internal working group that was set up in that first EO. And I think we're going to have tremendous ideas on how to accomplish this.
Why should the U.S. want to be the Bitcoin superpower? You cannot remain a sovereign nation if you lose control of your airspace, outer space, or cyberspace. This is a truism. It's pretty important. We're not talking about making a little bit of money here. We're talking about defending the American way of life. A superpower has to keep the air routes open. You must be able to fly, not just fly from here to London. You need to be able to fly from New York to Chicago. If you look at what happened in the first Gulf War, we took control of Iraqi airspace. Within a week, their entire country was non-functioning. Some people would say within 48 hours, they were non-functioning. This country won't function for 48 hours after we lose control of our airspace. How do we protect it? We have Air Force bases. We have military aircraft. This is evolving. It will continue to evolve. Drones, very sophisticated defense systems. We have to keep open our sea lanes. This is a truism for 1,000 years. The Carthaginians knew it. That's why the Romans destroyed them. The Carthaginians had destroyed the Venetian fleet. Every single port in the Mediterranean that was a Venetian port was also a Roman port, was also a Carthaginian port, was also a Phoenician port. Why? Because you must keep the sea lanes open if you would be a superpower. If I cut off your sea lanes, I choke your economy. The Japanese determined this or found this out in World War II. Sea power requires naval bases operating appropriate ships. A superpower has to keep its cyber channels open. What does that mean? It means your communication channels for digital information, but it also means your communication channels for digital energy. I need to be able to move a signal, but I need to move a $10 billion chunk of money. I don't just need to keep the cyber channels open around the world. It's not just I want to move that information or that energy between New York and Tokyo. If I lose control of cyberspace over the United States, I can't move information between New York and Chicago, right? You lose cyberspace, you'll lose your own digital economy. What would you do if your enemy got control of your cyberspace? You saw just, again, yesterday, you can't even log into X. Well, what happens when you can't log into your bank account? Cyber power requires Bitcoin miners operating ASICs, throwing up a wall of digital energy. And you want to hope that more than 50% of that is controlled by you or your allies.
And there you have it, another episode of MSTR Today. And I wanted to end on this graphic that Chris shared, because this is the concept that really was my aha moment for strategy, that I really understood what Michael Saylor and his team were up to. This was back in 2024, and I loved this analogy that he gave on the Q3 earnings report. It was just so awesome. I remember just being so excited about the company at that point. I was already pretty darn excited about it, and that just put me over the edge, because I'm like, yes, I 100% get it now. This is the future. Let's go. Now, remember, nothing in this video is financial advice, and there's so much fear, uncertainty, and doubt out there. So surround yourself with the right people, because at the end of the day, you will be the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So thank you for hanging out with me, Punter Jeff, Michael Saylor, Chris, and some other people that I've been curating content from today. That's a pretty good start for you, so keep it up. And as I love to say, it's inevitable. And as Michael Saylor likes to say, there is no second best.
What's the second best? There is no second best.